Today we're looking at notes 5-4, Focus and Directrix of a Parabola. So I'm going to warn you, these notes are pretty long and pretty intense, so you're probably going to want to pause the video very often to make sure that you're getting down everything that I have on my paper, as well as hearing everything that I say to make sure that you're fully comprehending everything. So we know already a lot about the upward facing parabola. What we're going to learn about today is the focus and the directrix. So the focus and the directrix is a point and a line. The focus is a point, the directrix is a line, and every parabola has one. The focus will always lie inside the parabola, so inside the U here, and the directrix will be the line that always lies outside of the parabola. And what's very special about the focus and the directrix is that they are both the distance, absolute value of C from the vertex. So the distance from the vertex to the focus is absolute value of C, and the distance from the vertex to the directrix is absolute value of C. So C, where does that C come from? Well, it's in the formula for a quadratic that is either upward or downward facing. So this is the general form of a parabola that either faces up or down. You're familiar with this mostly, it's just this that's kind of new. So you know that H comma K is the vertex, and how you find the focus, and this should make sense when you look at the visual here. The focus and the vertex have the same x value, so H, they have the same x value. The only thing that's different is the y value, and the y value of the focus is just C more than the y value of the vertex. So we're going to take the y value of the vertex and we're going to add C, because that's the distance from the vertex to the focus. Likewise, the directrix is a line, so it's written a little bit different. It's always for upward or downward going to be a horizontal line, so it'll always have y equals. That'll help you remember it there because that's y equals, that will be y equals. It's always going to be the y value of the vertex minus C, minus the distance. Okay, so K minus C will be the formula. All right, moving on. This is something we have not talked about, a sideways facing parabola. So yes, they exist. In this case, we have a right facing parabola. So likewise, like I said before, the focus is the point that lies inside the parabola. The directrix is the line that lies outside. And just like the upward or downward facing, on the sideways facing also, from the vertex to the focus and from the vertex to the directrix is the distance, the absolute value of C. That is the distance between those areas. So here is your general form for this type of parabola. Now we have x equals, it's sideways, so x equals this 1 over 4c, and then now we have in here y minus, notice that's k now, because that is the y value of our vertex, and then out here will be the x value. So our vertex is still h comma k, but you have to be careful for where they are inside here. So it's going to be h comma, take the opposite sign of whatever's in here. So here our focus, what you'll notice is from my vertex to my focus, they share the same y value. So the k will stay the same. What changes is the x value. So to get the focus, the x value of the focus, you're going to take the x value of the vertex and add C, because that's the distance. And then likewise, to find the directrix, you're going to take the the x value of the vertex, and you're going to subtract C because it's on the left side in this case here. So be very aware that these match. Since this parabola is sideways facing, the directrix will be in the form x equals. All right, so let's get to some examples here, and we're going to be referring back to this pretty often. So given the following quadratics, find the vertex, focus, and directrix, then graph the quadratic. So given this quadratic, I want to find the vertex, the focus, and the directrix. Okay, the vertex is easy. That's something we've been working with for a long time. We know the vertex is 6, negative 2. Okay, so I can go ahead and plot that over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, negative 2. Okay, the next thing you want to ask yourself is, well, in order to know how to find the focus, which formula to use from my previous page, I need to know what kind of parabola this is. Look at the equation here. It's y equals. That means it's either up or it's down. What tells me if it's up or it's down? Well, you know that already, the negative out here. That negative out here means this parabola is going to be facing down. If it's facing down, my focus is here, okay? And my directrix is here. So we just want to make sure as we're going that this all adds up. So nonetheless, it is a downward facing parabola. So I'm going to go back to my original page here, and my formula for the upwards or downwards facing parabola for the focus is h, k plus c. And then since I'm already here, I may as well write this down. The formula for the directrix is y equals k minus c. Okay, so that's kind of my bones to help me out. So in order to find the focus and the directrix, I need this c value that they're speaking of. Well, if you noticed back on the first page, where the c value comes from is this number out in front. So what you're going to do to find the c value is you're going to take your number out in front, which is negative 1 over 4, and set it equal to 1 over 4c. That will tell you what c is. So in this case, it's already set up as two fractions. The easiest way to find c, if you don't already know it in your head, is cross multiplication. So negative 1 times 4c. So negative 4c equals 4 times 1, which is 4. So divide both sides by negative 4, and you get c equals negative 1. So now that I have my c value, I can find my focus. So my focus is going to be h, which is 6, comma, k, which is negative 2, plus c, which is negative 1. So 6, comma, negative 3. Let's see if this makes sense, if this is a downward facing parabola. So the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. So that's my focus. Does this make sense? Yeah. It should be the vertex is above the focus because it's facing downwards. All right, let's find the directrix. So for the directrix, we have y equals k minus c. So y equals k is negative 2 minus c. c is negative 1. When I have minus a negative, that turns positive. So negative 2 plus 1 would be y equals negative 1. So the line y equals negative 1 would be right here. And again, does that make sense? Yes, because it's supposed to be downward facing. So there you go. There's my downward facing parabola, and the focus is on the inside and the directrix is on the outside. All right, let's move on to another one. Here, notice x equals. That means I'm going to be using the formulas on the bottom part of my first page of my notes. So when I find the vertex, I need to be very, very careful because my vertex is going to be h and k. So this is going to be 2, comma, take the opposite of that, negative 1. All right, there's my vertex. I'm going to go ahead and plot it. 2, negative 1. Okay, to find the focus and the directrix, I need to know what kind of parabola is this? Well, I can tell you right now because it's x equals, it's either right or left. So based on this negative here, that's going to tell us right or left. So you probably guessed it. A positive number here would be right. A negative number here would be left. So that means this parabola opens to the left. So the focus must be on the inside, the directrix on the outside. That's a basic rough draft. So I already know, based on my formulas here, let me pull this out. All right, my focus for the sideways facing, the formula is h plus c, comma, k, and the formula for my directrix is x equals h minus c. Okay, now I've got the formulas written down for my front page. I'm going to move that aside. So in order to find these, again, I've got to find c. So let us take, just like we did before, the number out in front, because remember it's 1 over 4c equals whatever's out in front here. So in this case, what I have out in front is just a plain old -1, right? If nothing's written, a negative or a 1 is implied and it's negative. So -1 equals 1 over 4c. Okay, this is not in fraction form, both. So I need to put it in fraction form, put that over 1, and then I can easily cross multiply. So -1 times 4c is -4c equals 1 times 1 is 1. And then divide both sides by -4, I get c equals -1/4. Okay, now that I've got that, I can go ahead with this. So my focus is going to be h plus c. So h is 2 plus -1/4, comma, comma k, which is -1. All right, in this case for graphing and plotting and doing all that, the easiest way to do this is going to be to use a mixed number. So 2 minus 1/4 would be 1 3/4, comma, -1. So let's see if that makes sense. My focus is supposed to be at 1 3/4 and -1. So there's my focus. Okay, and now my directrix is x equals h. Well, again, h is 2 minus c. C is -1/4. So minus a negative turns positive. 2 plus 1/4, we're just going to leave it as a mixed number, 2 1/4. So x equals 1, 2, and 1/4. So that's going to be about there. So my parabola must open this way with my focus on the inside, directrix on the outside. Does that make sense? Yes, because it was supposed to be left facing. Cool. Last piece of information I'm going to try to get through is write the equation for the quadratic given the following information. So if I'm given the vertex, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is 3, 7. That's the vertex. The focus is at 5, 7. That's the focus. How do I write the equation? Well, first of all, if the vertex is here and the focus is here, it must open like this. That's a given. Okay, so I'm using the formula x equals. All right, I need to know